The sexiest thing in the entire world is being really smart.
Welcome to Smart is Sexy, the podcast where we discuss self-development, love, business, spirituality, and becoming a smarter, sexier human being. I am your host, Kelsi.
And I'm Celeste. Welcome to our show, y'all. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, leave a review, and send to a friend. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit about a deep dive into our relationships, where we're at in our relationships, what we've learned, any advice, all the things. So before we get into it, Good News Minute. What you got for me this week?
My goodness. I know this comes every time, and I'm just still, so I just was caught off guard.
Oh, were you?
I was caught off guard with this. So my Good News Minute is I should have happier things in my life.
You don't have any? Have you had something delicious? Have you had anything fun? Have you done anything fun?
I feel like I've been doing lots of fun things. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Dog sledding. I took a ski lesson, but those were all those were all past. So wow, I'm at a blank. Could you go?
Okay, Kelsi has no good news. Yes, my Good News Minute is that we filmed a pilot for a reality show. So
That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. So we didn't really announce this, but we did kind of post a little bit of teasers and behind the scenes on social media. We were approached by a bunch of production companies to do a reality show for Viper, and we ended up going with one. We shot a pilot, so we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed that all goes well. But it was just kind of a crazy experience filming it. And
it was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Interesting to myself, I had a harder time with it than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
I really struggled with a lot of things as far as being a little bit more open and honest. I feel like I'm a pretty transparent person, but I guess I'm more transparent on my own terms.
Yeah.
And so getting having a camera in front of your face and trying to be real, but also portray yourself in a more positive light as best as you can while still being entertaining so that people want to watch you is really hard.
It's quite the balance.
It is really challenging.
And it's funny because you'll go to dinner and then you're supposed to be sitting at dinner having a conversation and you're in the middle of a restaurant with many people there and you have cameras around you and lights and a whole crew and it's weird. And then they're but be yourself. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because my idea of a cozy dinner is the two of us sitting and just hanging out and discussing how delicious my pasta is.
Yeah. So it was hard. It was hard. Well, I honestly had a lot of fun with it. I actually by the end of it, I was okay, I enjoyed that. I could totally do that again. That was also something that I had put on my manifesting list years ago. So I was it was such a cool experience, and because it's about our company that we built.
Don't get me wrong, I have wanted to have my own reality TV show since I was in high school watching The Hills.
Yeah.
But I think you don't know what your reaction is going to be to things until it's
there.
It's here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I just did struggle with it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
It's definitely weird because then they're be yourself and you're there's so many people watching me be myself. So, and then they you do interviews, you do confessionals, they set up scenarios for you to respond to.
Yeah, but it was fun. And I mean, fingers crossed, everything goes according to my plan.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. Yeah. So that was my Good News Minute. That was a little fun. You can see some of the photos on our Instagrams if you want to go check them out. It was interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, but anyways, I think, we're due for a relationship episode because we do them every few episodes. Mm-hmm. We haven't done one in a while. So I guess we'll just dive right in.
Yeah. Well, both of us are in rather serious relationships now, which is very new for us.
Yeah.
We have never in the history of our friendship been in a relationship. I mean, I've just like never been in one. I was over here trying to never date ever.
Yes, this is true.
And you've had a few things, but like nothing as serious and as healthy as this.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
that's the combo here.
Yeah. I would agree.
Is the health and
the health and the seriousness.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like you can have one without the other.
Yeah.
So
So
you need both.
Yeah. So it's so new for both of us.
Yeah.
I have hit a 1 year mark.
Woo! Big day.
Yes, big day. And I would like to say since hitting that 1 year mark, but it's been going on for a really long time. I am constantly asking mans when he's proposing.
Okay. Just
Like
asking
I'm just
every
like
day.
Yet today
Is
maybe.
today the day?
And he's like, no, like we haven't even tried on engagement rings yet. And so no, it's not happening today as we're sitting.
You're like, but maybe later.
He's like, not while we're eating our sandwich. It's like not.
You just never know.
But like pop it right now, pop the question now, see what happens. We could, I'm spontaneous.
That's funny. That's
I will
hilarious.
spontaneously say yes. So now that I think the more that I ask, he puts it off even longer because he's like, this is a good time making you wait. But like over the last year, I have felt the most amount of anxiety I've ever felt in my life, and not because of him, but because my life has changed so much. And I do not like change.
Yeah.
I don't do well with change.
Yeah.
I panic. I love a plan. I've got a plan for 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
And meeting him and being in a relationship with him has thrown me for a loop. So because of the uncertainty of how life is going to be, I have then been very anxious.
Right.
But it has forced me to learn how to communicate with a significant other and learn to take my past traumas and things that trigger me and learn how to communicate through that. So something happened the other night where he was with a bunch of guy friends and they were out. He was, catching up with people, but his text messages were short. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing. But I was so triggered by my ex who used to, when he had a guy's night, that meant that like, who knows what girls were there.
Yeah.
And I felt so triggered. Well, when I told mans why I was triggered and why I felt so weird, the response was, I'm so sorry. And I will make sure that like I communicate a little bit better with you. And I was like, no. Cause you're with your friends. You shouldn't have to be communicating with me. I'm just telling you why I got a little bit weird. Yeah. But it does force you to be so vulnerable.
Those old triggers are some sneaky fuckers. Cause they really will catch up. Yeah. Because then because I think for me too, cause the one that happens to me, if there's old things that come up, I'm like, okay, wait, is this happening again? Because I'm like, okay, wait, if it is happening again, I should have learned this lesson and I need to catch it. And then I'm like, or is this my anxiety and it's not happening again? I'm just triggered. But if it is happening again, then I need to be in front of it. But
then you're like, what am I to do? Because I feel like a freak show. And it is really, really hard. But the other thing that when it's different is when your partner reacts in a way when you tell them. Right. There's not any anger. He's not mad about it. He's not upset. Yeah. They just are like, okay, that makes a lot of sense as to why that made you feel that way. Okay, well, we have to work on that as a couple. So moving forward, you don't feel that way. And we cut It just was such a different response than when I have been triggered. And then a guy's been like, well, that's not my issue. You need to get over it.
Yeah,
that's not the way you talk to someone that you love. You have to also handle with care when you love someone.
Yeah, you have to handle with care, and it's like the understanding. It's also, I think, a big thing is like giving your partner grace. That's something that we don't have a lot in healthy relationships, because I've been in relationships where they maybe weren't super healthy, and that's one thing we just didn't give the other person, because if you're in more of a toxic space, then you're always in competition. you know, you're not in like a space where you want the other person to grow. Because I feel like in a toxic relationship, you almost like subconsciously want the other person not to grow because you like want to be right. You want to be like, you're a shithead and I'm right. So you like don't give them any grace to like be better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like you're in a constant competition. Whereas like in a healthy space, you have to like give each other grace because it's like you have to be understanding about everyone goes through things. Everybody has emotions. You're not going to be perfect all the time. Like you may not like being that way, but it still happens. You still felt that way. It's still going to come up.
Yeah.
So it's like giving each other grace, I think, is like such a sign of like a healthier dynamic.
Yes. Yeah. The communication and like how much to be communicating, you have to be so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And just like laying everything out on the line. Mm-hmm. And then also just the crazy thing, at least for me, I've always wanted to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
It has not been a priority for me the last 10 years. Like dating was not a priority.
Right.
Men weren't really a priority. I was just kind of like doing my thing, working a lot. Mm-hmm. Viper, like that was my life. And so it's something like you always think like, oh yeah, I'll have a house one day with the person I'm going to marry. Mm-hmm. And then, oh yeah, we're going to have kids. One day I'll have kids. So it's always like a one day. Mm-hmm. Well, like we're now sitting and talking about things of like, oh, okay, what does putting a down payment on a house look like for us? What does, like, we're planning out like, okay, when do we want to get married? What season? Like, when are we're talking about like very real things that I have always just like thought one day I would talk about, but now I'm talking about them. I'm thinking, this is different. And like, it's so fun and exciting, but it's just like, it's like a weird thing where you're like, oh yeah, no, I am going to have a mortgage with you. That's insane.
It's crazy.
And so fun. Like we get to do that, but also like, that's weird. Yeah. Like we like he wants to have 4 kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, my God, that's 4 sounds really fun. I'm 5 years older than you. So if we gotta do some math. We gotta do some math because I also have, like, I'm not saying we need to do it tomorrow. Yeah. But like we gotta eventually think about like we can't wait another 5 years to have kids because then you're down to 2 kids.
You're right. You gotta pick your priorities.
It's like we gotta do the math. I gotta carry them for X amount of time. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, there's just like a lot of there's just like a lot of months that go into things. There's so much
to think about. It is,
but it's just such an interesting time to like move into where you're like, every stage of a relationship. Dating someone, learning how to date a new person is new. The new relationship phase where you like make it official, but it's still exciting. Yeah. That's new. Yeah. The comfort phase is new. Yeah. Then you get to be
so many seasons.
So many seasons. You get to be comfortable and then you get really serious. And then if marriage is what you want with that person, then you get to move into the newlywed phase. Like every stage of your relationship is new. Yeah. And you constantly have to be learning. Then when you get comfortable, you have to make sure you're not too comfortable because you want to make sure you guys are still exciting to yourselves, exciting to one another. Yeah. Like planning things, doing fun, exciting things.
That's true. Cause it is so easy to get so comfortable. It's so easy to just like lay around, like not go on dates anymore, not like make it a priority to go do things.
Not
like
get ready.
Get ready. Oh my God. I literally hadn't gotten ready in like weeks. And I was like, I need to like get ready. Like I need to like feel better.
Yeah, not even for the other person, but also just for yourself because 100%. That's and I actually asked Mans the other day and I was like, do you feel like a year ago when you met me at the wedding, like that I'm like an in-person catfish? And he goes, no.
That's hilarious.
And I'm literally standing there in these zebra leggings, his oversized tie-dye sweatshirt and some Christmas Mickey Mouse socks. Oh. And I'm standing there and I'm like, but do you think that maybe I was a catfish? I don't think I'd washed my hair. I was like greasy.
So
I was just
funny.
He goes, no. And he's like, I obviously think you're beautiful, but I don't love you because of your looks. And I was like, but this is not okay. He goes, well, this outfit's a weird time. I don't know.
That's hilarious. I don't know. Do you think I'm an in-person catfish?
Yeah. Because I was like, when we met a year ago at that wedding, Like, I don't know if this would have caught your eye.
That's funny. No, I feel you. It's so easy to like get so comfortable and like navigate all those different seasons and like places, because it's so weird. Like you're like, okay, this is our, especially if it's like, oh, this is our first time, you know, we're like, we get in a big fight, or this is the first time we're like in a disagreement, or this is the first time where we're a little bit more distant. Because, you know, there's like seasons for everything, and the season can be 2 days or it could be a weekend. Like it doesn't always have to be months of a situation. No. But like, it is so weird to navigate. And then like figuring out your own triggers and like, why does this trigger me? And then like thinking about your own trauma and like everything. I feel like the fastest way to like learn where your triggers are is just date somebody that you really like. Oh, you know,
dude. And it's all super, super strange. And that is why there's like, you have to have a lot of patience in a relationship. And you have to have like, that's why like love and appreciation for a person is so important, because it's like you are going to have periods of time where even when it's new, that other individual is going to be going through something. And we were talking about this the other day. One, you have to be yourself. Yeah. And then you have to come in and be yourself in a relationship, and that person has to match up with you. But if the other person also is off, then your matchup is off. Right. And then you're sitting there and you're like, okay, wait. So we're on different pages. Yeah. This is challenging. What's going on? Our energy's off. Yeah. And then you have to also then not let their emotions affect your emotions,
which is so hard.
That's impossible.
I mean, it's really hard. That's like something that was super challenging for me to navigate, because it's also like, for me, I'm obviously in a much newer situation than you are. So the first time that it was like, oh, like our energy is off because you're going through something and I'm going through something, and they're separate of each other, but we both carry that energy into the dynamic, the relationship. So it's hard to be like, to like not internalize it, you know? And also I'm somebody where I'm like, I'm like, okay, I can feel energy. And I've been in relationships in the past where I have felt the energy shift, and I've asked my partner like, hey, what's going on? Is something going on? And they're like, no, nothing's going on. We're good. And I'm like, really? Because I feel like something's off. And they're like, no, we're good. And then it's like, you were cheating, or we broke up the next week, or whatever. And it's like, I was right. And they lied to me, and they pit my own intuition against my own anxiety, which is like the worst thing you can do to somebody. Like, just tell the truth. And so now, like, I have to navigate with anybody I date, but it's, you know, the relationship I'm in, like, okay, if I ask this person if something's off and they say nothing's off between us, because maybe they're going through their own thing separate of me that has nothing to do with me, so they're telling me the truth that nothing's off. I'm like, wait, I've been here before. You're like,
hold on, wait a minute.
You know, you could be, that could be the truth. It could be that nothing's off. They're dealing with something independently of me, has nothing to do with me. I'm just feeling it because I feel energy. Or I'm like, but I've also been in this situation before where my ex told me nothing was off, and he had a whole ass other girlfriend.
So you're like, so am I ignoring something that's there, or is this just a trigger? And that's really hard.
That's the worst place to be in.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, my mom has been married for like 10 years. Yeah. I need to do the math, but something along those lines. My mom tells me, she's like, I still get triggered by stuff that Paul K, which is my OG dad. Yeah.
My OG dad.
Yeah. I mean, we don't like really
before the replacement came in.
Yeah. The replacement is so much better. Yeah. But like before, like, she goes, I still get triggered by things. She goes, and Dave is like the world's best husband. Yeah. So I don't know if anything ever goes away, but it's just being aware of when it happens. Yeah. And then, but I get it, because you're like, is this hard. A red flag, or are you just a different person, and it's my own stuff?
And I know it's like sits with us, because like, you know, the person I date now, like I really trust him so much. Like I have zero reason not to trust him. I trust him fully. We're super healthy. We have the best dynamics. So like when things come up, if energy shifts or whatever, I'm like, I have no reason not to trust you. Like logically in my brain, I'm like, okay, nothing's up. But like, because of like past, you know, if you have been cheated on, or if you have dated someone who was lying to you, or if you just, any of those things, it's like so hard, because you have to be like, you know, your body naturally wants to protect you. So like your body will be like, hey, like, remember this happened before? Yeah. You know, you felt off and you were right. And then you have to be like, okay, this is a different person. But you know, something that helps me a lot, I don't think this will resonate for everybody, but something that helps me a lot is remembering that no matter what happens, whether like we ride off into the sunset or we break up tomorrow, no matter what, like I always have me, I will always find out, like happiness is always within us. Like you will always be okay. That's just something that helps me. I don't think that will help everybody because it's not like a necessary place to go. Like you don't have to go to a place of like, you know,
if it ends, I'll be fine.
Right. You don't have to go there.
To do that.
You can go, there's like a million other places you can go. You know, you can go like, we'll work it out. If something was wrong, right? Hypothetically speaking, we'll work it out. We'll get a third party involved. We'll get a therapist. We'll recommit. We'll bring, you know, there's so many other places you can go. That's just something that helps me because it reminds me of like my own independence and like, okay, hey, you can detach from like lingering this problem, because I'm someone who will chronically overthink. Like I will overthink a problem into existence. My mom says that all the time. My mom's like, there's nothing going on, but you created it because you really did a business plan for this problem in your head, you know? And so like I'll create it like super easily, but it's something that I'm like super self-aware about, you know, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm more emotional. Like it's also just harder with women. We go through our bodies change every week, you know, like we have hormonal phases. So it's like, I just ebb and flow. I just do my best. I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
You know, I can't do everything. I'm just a girl. It's hard out here. Okay. Like,
that's really funny. I feel you.
You know?
No, it is hard. And just all the different phases of relationships are challenging. And then getting comfortable is challenging because you want to be comfortable. You don't want to get too comfortable. You don't want to ignore the red flags that you've ignored before in life.
Right.
But you also don't want to hold another person to the mistakes of...
Right.
Or you don't want to hold your current person to the mistakes of your past people. Because that's not fair to them. They're their own person. But then it's also semi-fair to yourself because you want to protect yourself. There's a lot of things. Relationships are challenging and I'm not saying they're always going to be, but it's always going to take a little bit of work, and it just finds the right people that you want to work with.
100%. And I feel like I feel like you're in the right space if they're challenging, because it means you're not settling, you know, because I feel like if you date someone and you just don't care, then you're probably in like the wrong relationship. Because I have friends who are like that, where they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so's out, I don't really care. And I'm like, okay. You know, I have friends who are like, oh yeah, I don't care if they like go flirt with other people, whatever. I'm like, okay, you might not be in like the best relationship. I mean, or maybe you are, to each their own, but like,
right now,
you care.
No, I care.
But see, and so like I would rather be in a situation where I care and I think about that, because I'm like, okay, then I know I'm not settling, you know?
Yes.
But it is challenging because it's like, is this my intuition protecting me, or is this my anxiety from past triggers? And it's like, it's really hard to know.
Yeah, it is hard to know. And I think the way that I have figured it out through this last year, that it has always been every single time, it has been my anxieties from triggers, is the way that the reaction from Mans comes. Yeah. Like the reaction that he gives me when I tell him what's going on, it's like, oh, okay, we got to fix this. Because we can't have you feeling like this. And it's not, this is your problem. This is something we will fix together. And what can I do so you don't feel like that anymore?
100%.
That, and sometimes I'm like, you can't do anything. You continue to be the person that you are, and you continue to help me trust you. He actually asked me this question the other day. He said, I was feeling anxious and kind of off, and we did long distance for a while, and I really hated it. It made me feel very anxious when I had to leave him. Yeah. And that brought up a lot of stuff from my childhood, and we were talking, and he was like, if we got married, would it solve the issue? Would it solve your anxiety when we had to be apart? Yeah. And I said no. Right. Because it's not about, I trust you right now, just like I would trust you if we were married. Yeah. There is the level of trust, it is how long we will be together. Yeah. It will get better the longer we're together. Right. Totally. And the more you continue to show up, the more we continue to be partners and love each other through the hard stuff. Yeah. That will just continue to allow me to be relaxed. Yeah. And he was like, and then now I know that we can get married. Because he's like, that it would make me nervous if marriage was the reason why you would feel better.
And I think that's like a common mistake. People use it as like a Band-Aid. It's not a Band-Aid.
No.
It's never going to solve your problem.
No.
By the way, anything that was a problem before marriage is going to amplify, not in this situation because this is just time, but like if you had a problem before, like for example, if somebody was cheating on you, getting married, not going to fix that.
No.
It's actually, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's going to get worse.
No.
So,
and that's what I meant to him. I was like, I trust you with the same, it's just my stuff that I have to get over. But it really is like, and I told him this. I said, if we're getting married to like you said, put a Band-Aid on something, that's not it. No, totally. I trust you. Yeah. Your word as being my boyfriend means the exact same to me as if you were to say, hey, I'm your husband.
Totally. 100%. And that's how it should be, because it's not really about the title. It's not really about, that certificate,
the ring on my finger.
It's not about any of like the outside factors.
When you give me your word, when I give you my word, you have it regardless of what's written on a piece of paper.
Totally. I mean, I do feel the same a little bit, because I was talking to the guy I'm dating about this. We were talking about the concept of like posting each other, you know what I mean? Because his social media is more like business focused, and he was like, oh yeah, we'll do something cute like when we like hard launch, you know? And I was like, you don't really need to post me. Like if you want to, you're more than welcome, but like I don't need that from you. Like we're super healthy in real life. Like your social media is geared towards your business. Like I don't feel any sort of pressure or any sort of necessity for that. But I know that's like a common thing for people. Like, why don't you post me? Why don't you post me? And I believe that if you need somebody if you need it, like it's driving you crazy, them to post you, like you have underlying issues in your relationship. Yes. That's my personal belief. Obviously, if you both just like genuinely want to, because it's cute, it's your personal social media, like 100% do your thing. But if you're like, I need it, like we're fighting about it.
Yeah, and if you're pressing your significant other to post you and your significant other is pressing back to not,
then I'm like,
there might be a little bit of a red flag here, because it's like, why won't you post,
and why do you need that? Right. And so I was talking about that to him too, because that's like another form of a Band-Aid. Because what is that going to solve, by the way? Like if you have real problems, like real issues, like the posting thing like doesn't solve anything. You know
that doesn't solidify your relationship.
Do you know how many guys, by the way, like DM me or other women, and I look at their profile and I'm like, whole nother girlfriend, whole wife.
Oh, there's your kids. Like, there's your, that's so cute.
Your wife
Thank you so
and
much
your
for asking
kids.
me on a date, and you literally have a ring on your finger.
Thank you. Multiple. It doesn't do anything.
No.
So you got to fix the problems in real life. But that, to your point, it's like adding marriage or adding an Instagram photo. Those things don't like solidify or like rectify anything. No. It's about removing the actual issue.
Yes. And I also press him to get married because I spend a lot of time in Utah. Mm-hmm. We do not live together. Mm-hmm. We are waiting to move in together until we get married. Yeah. So I am also just more excited about moving in together and being married and like for that than I am like, I also like, yes, a wedding would be super fun. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm like, we can go freaking elope. I don't care. Feel you. So I made the joke of like me pressing him to get married. Yeah. It's for no other reason than I'm like, hey, my guy, I am so excited to move in together. Yeah. Like I am so excited to start that phase of our relationship.
You're excited about the right things. It's not like I want to show, off a ring or whatever, or, whatever the reasons people get married are,
Yeah. Like, or the insecure reasons people get married.
Reasons, yeah.
I think marriage is such a phenomenal thing. Yeah. If you want to do that, like if it's right for you, I think marriage is incredible. Yeah. It's something where two people come together to build a life together, and that to me, and really any relationship where people promise one another that they're going to be loyal, I think that's incredible.
No, I agree.
I love monogamy.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been like pro legal marriage just for my own life. Yeah. Like I'm not really like, I've never really wanted that, but I do think like there's something about choosing, if you're choosing the other person, to me, that's like super sacred. Like for me, I'm like, I don't necessarily need the government involved because they're like a little,
and that's okay.
But like choosing the other person, is
and I think that's probably even what I mean. Like, because like, yes, I will get married and we'll do the whole thing. But if that were something that he was like, hey, I don't necessarily care about that, but I want to choose you. Yeah. But
That's cute.
We choose each other every day now.
I know I said like not showing off the ring, but I just feel like I would show off my ring. So I kind of take that back in retrospect because it's like I kind of like the diamonds.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm there with you.
I'm like, I evolved in the past 2 minutes and I changed my mind.
Because there are exciting things about like just the relationships aspect. And also we're girls.
Yeah.
I love jewelry.
Yeah.
But so there it's new. There's new levels of insecurities that come up, and the old insecurities go away, but then
Totally.
And you don't know they're going to come up until you've gotten to that point in your relationship where you're like, oh, new thing.
I went to therapy after I broke up with my last boyfriend, and then I stopped going to therapy once we kind of like worked through, some stuff. And then I started dating somebody else, and it was like super healthy, like by far the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And then I was like, okay, should I go back to therapy? Not because anything's wrong, but because it's like, you have a third party where you can kind of like work through some of your other stuff. Because I think once you get in a healthy dynamic, you have like a desire to show up as your best self. Like you desire to be better because you're like, I want to bring this into the dynamic for both me and you. So I also, if anybody has the means or the interest, I think therapy is like an amazing resource.
Yeah, even when you're in a great place.
100%. Actually, him and I were talking about that because he was like, I would go to therapy with you tomorrow. Not because anything's wrong, but just because it's like we can always like work on making us stronger and more understanding.
Which
and I think I totally agree.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. Like I feel like therapy is always good because you can always like sometimes talking about a problem in front of a third party where they can act as a little bit more of a mediator versus someone who's like, we're waiting until something gets really wrong to go.
Totally. I feel like you should like work, going like when you're in a good place. So you can kind of like just like have a softer landing for when things do get tough at some point, if and when they get tough, so like it's not like punishment. It's more of like just like a working foundation, building that. So, all right. Well, those are my 2 cents.
I had like 6 cents to give.
That's great. Yeah. Well, you're more experienced. Oh my God. We were at dinner the other day with our girlfriends, and one of our friends was like, Kelsi, you're an inspiration.
I'm like, bro, I just am in a relationship like probably like more than half the world.
You got out of the fuckboy phase. You stopped dating men in LA. You found a serious relationship. You're an inspiration. Like she was, and she said it so many times because she really genuinely meant it. And I was dying of laughter. It was
so nice. And I'm thinking, oh, you guys, like I just got really, really lucky and it happened to like go to a wedding and meet the person I was supposed to always meet.
But you were doing the work on yourself to be ready for that moment. And that I think is crucial. Like if they were like, I want to be in in like a high value relationship, what do I do to get there? I wouldn't say get on a dating app. I wouldn't say try to go meet people. I would say do the work on yourself. Yeah. Heal. Work through your own trauma. Meditate. Manifest. Do those things.
I definitely think that like whether or not I was always working on myself, I definitely think I've been put in a lot of situations where I was forced to work on myself, whether I wanted to or not. Yeah. There was a lot of guys that I may have like not necessarily dated, but had been talking to, or maybe had feelings for someone, and it ended in a way that I would have preferred it not to have ended. Yeah. I would have liked it to end a little bit kinder.
Yep. Same. But you know what? I look back on one of the worst breakups I ever had. I mean, I had a lot of bad breakups. Ooh. But I had one really bad one where we were long distance. The guy was kind of emotionally abusive, very emotionally abusive, and was also cheating. And that was like the hardest breakup I've ever gone through, in the sense that it was during the holidays. I was by myself. It was emotionally abusive. It was COVID. It was so hard. I remember literally being in my shower on my hands and knees, like praying, like somebody just take this pain, because like I can't do it anymore. I was heartbroken for so many reasons, not really just because of him, but because I let myself go through that. I put myself in a situation to receive that. I took the emotional abuse. I was very confused with it. I was like, what's going on? And that was it took me a minute I was like down bad for like a month at least. It took me a second, but I am so thankful for that, because I'm like, you know what? I came out of that stronger. I learned. It gave me the confidence that I can go through anything. I mean, I've had a few bad heartbreaks, or just not even I don't even like calling them heartbreaks, because I'm like, you don't even deserve that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even deserve that title.
It does like, it like makes you so much stronger. It's like when you work out. Yeah. and you like break the muscles down and then they build back up to be stronger. That is literally what it feels like you're doing. So then, and hopefully people come back better so that way when they do find their person, they're able to be a really great version of themselves and the person they're supposed to be in the relationship so that you guys just make it work.
Totally. I think a mistake people make mainly in LA, just because we're like a weird ego driven city, is that they get hurt and then they come back as the person who hurts other people.
Like with vengeance.
I think that's the mistake.
To other people. Like you get hurt, so then you are like, well, I'm going to just screw over every person that comes after you.
And we see it in meme culture. We see it in Instagram culture, TikTok culture. We see this like very like spiteful, like you did this, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna one up, you know. And it's like you can do that, but just remember the energy you put out is the energy you receive.
Exactly.
So if you receive it and then you put it back out, you continue the cycle. Like the only person who can break that cycle is you. And you can say, I no longer support toxic relationships, I'm not gonna receive them, and I'm not gonna give them. You have to make that choice. And it doesn't matter if it's hard. It doesn't matter if you get played, fucked over, heartbroken. You make the choice. You say, I'm not doing this. I'm not contributing to this. I'm not taking it. I'm no longer interested in it. It doesn't turn me on. It's not hot. It's not attractive. I'm not doing it. And that's when you start doing the work. You're on your own, and then you end up with the right person. That's my personal belief.
No, I am so with you. I do not understand the whole my heart was broken, so I'm gonna hold every person to like that same level that this person did and just not care. Like that's so unfair. And it's a domino effect, because when you treat someone and like make them become jaded, then that trickles down to every person. And then we just have a city full of people who don't know how to communicate and don't know how to be with another individual.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
It's crazy.
That's our slogan.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Well, on a positive note, what's your sexy?
Well, I had one, and then I just got a text from Mans that my mattress pad came, and then he goes, hey, your mattress pad came, and I just put it on the bed for you and made the bed. And I was like...
Can I? Oh my God. You know what? That wasn't even my sexy, but I'm going to piggyback off that because he's been doing that. That was like the sweetest thing to me. We started dating and he would like notice things around the house like that I didn't have. Like he'd be like, oh, your shoes were unorganized. So I ordered you shoe organizers and I put them together for you and I put them in your closet. Or you don't have an office. You need a workspace. So he built me a desk and built me a bookshelf and built me a chair. Like things like that. I'm like,
dude, it is so thoughtful. Like
so sweet.
Like he's at my other home right now in Utah, and he'll like be there a lot when I'm in LA, because he's with the dogs, he runs around, he's like, it's peaceful, it's quiet, he hangs out, he paints. So he's like, hey, the mattress pad just came, put it all together for you, I made the bed. And I was like, I just really love you, and I don't even know what I was doing. I think
it's just
before.
like the little acts of service too that are so nice.
My gosh.
Also, when I used to live by myself and with my ex-boyfriend, he had come over and I had just moved in, and I was like, I have to put my shoe rack together, which was like the easiest thing in the world. Like it wasn't even difficult. And I said, can you help me? And he said, no, I'm in jeans. I was like, you can't help me with my shoe rack because you're in jeans? Like, come on. But anyways, that's when you know.
That's when you know.
That's when you know it's time to upgrade, ladies, because that's the bare fucking minimum, and we can help. Like we can help a girl out.
Yeah, that's a weird time. Yeah. Well, I definitely had a different one, but that one really just it popped up on my iPad screen. And I was like,
no, I'm gonna use that one.
Never mind. Oh, that sexy doesn't even matter anymore.
Well, you guys, that was our relationship tea. Thank you so much for tuning in.
You guys, please rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your grandma. I don't know why the grandma thing.
I feel like grandmas would support.
Grandmas for sure would support.
So yeah, tell them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, wait, hold on. Have you seen that grandma on TikTok that says, like, karma's a bitch, like, my ex cheated on me and now he's in the ground, because she's like 90.
I have seen that. It's really funny.
I follow her.
Yeah.
She's a hoot.
That's hilarious.
I really get a kick out of her. I like her a lot.
You guys, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube at Smart is Sexy or Smart is Sexy by Kelsi H. All right, we'll be back every Wednesday.